What are the greatest acts of kindness in political history? When we think of great acts of kindness, politicians are probably the last people you think of. They often have a reputation for being dishonest and greedy. While a lot of them may only look out for themselves, in political history, there have been rare moments a politician does a selfless act for the people. Here are the top 5 greatest acts of kindness in political history. 5. Princess gives Canada thousands of tulip bulbs. In 1940, Princess Juliana of the Netherlands was evacuated to Ottawa, Canada, due to the invasion of Germany in World War II. During that time, a bond was developed between the princess and her Canadian hosts, as Canadian forces helped to fight the Germans out of the Netherlands. When her child Margaret was born, Canada declared her rooms at the hospital as extraterritorial so the baby would have Dutch nationality. As a thanks for all the Canadians did for her, Princess Juliana gave Ottawa 10,000 tulip bulbs every year for the rest of her life, and to this day the Netherlands continue to give 20,000 tulip bulbs to Canada yearly. 4. Uruguay president donates 90% of presidential salary. Most politicians are hated for their greed, but there's one politician who may not have had a greedy bone in his body. Uruguay's former president, José Pepe Mujica, was affectionately known as the world's poorest president for his selfless and amazing act of kindness. A former Tupamaro guerrilla fighter in the 1960s and 70s, Mujica was shot multiple times and spent 14 years jailed in harsh conditions. When he was elected president of Uruguay in 2009, Mujica donated 90% of his presidential salary to charity and ditched the lavish presidential palace, opting to instead live on his small farm with his wife. For a long time, his sole personal asset was a 1987 Volkswagen Beetle. Mujica admonished other world leaders for their unfettered allowance of globalization and inequality. Although Mujica has currently left politics, he'll go down in political history for how generous and humble he was with his power. 3. Malawi president feeds 1 million people. Some leaders really do look at their position as one to serve the people, and not to live an enriched lifestyle. After being elected the first female president of Malawi, Joyce Banda sold the Malawi presidential jet and the 60 Mercedes limousines to help boost the finances of the country. She joked that she didn't mind flying commercial, saying, "I am already used to hitchhiking." The money from the sale of the plane went to feeding more than 1 million people, according to the Malawi Treasury Department. Banda also did as much as she could to stress the importance of women's economic independence, given her own prior difficulties being in an abusive relationship. 2. President of Senegal saves lives with AIDS awareness. In the face of a potential national crisis, sometimes the kindest act by a political leader is quick action. Before the AIDS virus spread in Africa, President Diop began an anti-AIDS program in Senegal. He used media and schools to promote safe-sex messages and required prostitutes to be registered. Because of his quick actions, while AIDS took a lot of lives in much of Africa, the infection rate for Senegal stayed below 2%. Before we reveal number 1, think about what you think is the greatest act of kindness in political history. Who knows, you might be right. And without further ado, here's the number 1 greatest act of kindness in political history. 1. Abraham Lincoln signing the Emancipation Proclamation freeing 3.5 million slaves. It's pretty hard to top the amazing kindness of freeing people from forced labor, and that's exactly what Lincoln did. The Emancipation Proclamation, or Proclamation 95, was a presidential proclamation and executive order issued by United States President Abraham Lincoln on January 1, 1863. It changed the status of more than 3.5 million enslaved African Americans in the South from slave to free. While Lincoln would later be assassinated after the Civil War, His kind act helped to move the country towards eventually giving complete freedom to all African Americans after the Civil War, through the abolishment of slavery with the passing of the 13th Amendment. This one act of kindness perhaps not only changed the US, but had an impact that changed the whole world. Do you believe this was the greatest act of kindness in political history? What other kind acts by a politician do you think should have made the list? Let us know in the comments. We hope you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. This is Top Tips, tipping you off.